Hello and thanks for coming to check this out. Let's continue looking at ways to make your title templates auto-adjustable and adaptable for the user in Final Cut. So now we're going to start looking at using lines. And there's plenty of reasons you'd want to choose a line instead of a shape in your builds, but one of the main reasons is of course to make sweeps like you can see here. So in Automatic Titles Part 8, we looked at how to make auto-adjusting sweep using shapes, masks, and the link-to-link method. But that's really good for lots of situations. In other situations, something more complex, you'd get pretty fed up with doing all those links and working with the offsets over and over again. So we want to use a line instead because we can animate freely with the first point and last point offset, as you can see here. But the thing is with lines is that they don't have the geometry parameters of height and width that we depend on for automating size. Instead we have points instead. So what we want to do is unify the benefits of points with the geometry parameters width and height. And we're going to do that by using the track points behavior. So let's get started and see what we can do. Okay, just to point a couple of things out, my project file here is 30 frames a second and it's just 5 seconds long, so you'll find it more convenient to have something between about 3 and 5 seconds. And I have the 4-point link frame ready to go here, and this is something we did in Automatic Titles Part 9. So if you're not sure about this, you'd want to go and watch Part 9 first and then come back and start. Okay, so I have a line here, and I've just drawn this line from left to right. So you see I have edit points on, and you'll see there's control point 1, there's control point 2. So what we want to do is link point 1 to this crosshair and link point 2 to this crosshair, and to do that we use the track point behavior. So I've got the line selected, I'll come here to behaviors, to shape, choose track points, and I'll name this one track point 1. And for the source I'm going to drag in this crosshair, and that is crosshair D. Deselect this one here, this option, track 2. Set this setting here to attach to source, and then you want to make sure that these position offsets here are reset. Okay, with the playhead at the start, I want to analyze now, and this is why you just want to have a short project duration, so you don't have to sit through this for a long time. Okay, so that is done, so I'm going to select line and I'll add another track point behavior. I'll just set that under the other one. I'll call this one track point 2, and for the source I'm going to drag in crosshair C. Same again, choose attach to shape, deselect track 1 and reset these parameters here. Okay, we'll just set the playhead to the start and now analyze this one. Okay, time for the next step. So what we've done is we've used the track point behavior to link point 1 of the line to crosshair D and point 2 of the line to crosshair C, and our crosshairs are bolted on to the rectangle and they'll go wherever the rectangle goes. So if we come to, let's just turn off the frame and tracking. If we come to our rectangle here and adjust width, you'll see that our line will go along with it. So that is how we marry the points of a line to the parameters, height and width of a shape. And from here we know we're going to link the shape to the text by size and align it to get the auto sizing. So I'll just jump ahead and set that up, and we'll continue looking at things that we can do. Okay, so I just set up the basic build with here's the frame. It's aligned to the text and linked to the text for size. And I've just got 25 padding on the y-axis to set things above slightly, top and bottom. So here is the line, and I have animated the line with the last point offset to get this animation. So coming into the text, if we add more text, that line is going to update and it's going to keep the same speed curve as well. If we add more lines of text, our line animation is going to keep up with that as well. Okay, so there's a good starting point, and from that you can do lots of things. I think you've seen sweeping lines, complementing title graphics almost everywhere you look. So now we can do that and automate the size to keep up as well. Okay, let's look at something else. Okay, so let's look at turning this underline into a full banner to highlight the title text. What we're going to do is grab the line and come into the style section, and we want to, I will leave these on for now. We want to give this just a massive width for now, so I'm going to set this width at 10,000, just so that becomes huge. And the reason it's covering the screen there is because we left the start caps on, so we'll set those to none. So our line now is just going all the way up and down the y-axis. So our text is linked to our frame, and I'm just going to turn the align to off while I do this. So what I want to do is turn the frame back on. It's just set to outline at the moment, so I want this frame to have a fill instead. Okay, and so similar to what we did in Guide 8, we are going to grab our line. You can grab the line or grab the line group. I'm going to grab the line group, add an image mask, and drag in the frame as the source. And we want the title group to sit above it. Okay, I'll just turn align 2 back on. So there we have the full banner, and I would want to come into the size link and now pad that out on the x-axis as well. Okay, and we know that this is going to adjust completely and fully with changes to the text as well. So there's one method for making a full automated banner, and now we can take this line and let's just roughly animate the first point offset to sweep back the other way. Oh, that went the wrong way. Okay, I'll just grab these and reverse it. Okay, good to go. So there we go. Now we're using lines to make our sweeps without the fuss of using masks and link-to-link automation. So one thing I'll point out here, just speaking of the other method we looked at in Guide 8, one of the benefits of using link-to-link automation is that we can keyframe the parameters of the null frame. See, I renamed my group here to null frame. We can come in and we can keyframe these parameters, but if you are using track points and you keyframe the width or height, the point tracking is going to fall apart. So that's one reason that this method is not always the best way to go. Okay, so that's one way to create the banner, and that's really useful. The reason I made it super large is because if you're going to fit multiple lines of text in there, eventually the titles can start to push up through the mask. So you just want to make sure you have a really huge surface area for the mask to cover. If we come into the text, add more, okay, you'll see that this banner is going to always adjust. Right, let's have a look at another way to make a banner. For the next step, I got rid of the mask, I got rid of the sweep animation for the line, just the last point offset now, and set the width back to 15, and the frame, I've turned off the fill, so it's just outline. So I have the tracking group turned on, and I have just D and C on here. Okay, I'll just turn guides on. So we want to look at this cross here, null anchor D. So remember from Automatic Titles Part 9 when we looked at making this 4-point linked frame. This crosshair is bolted onto the corner with one link for Y and one link for X. So what we want to do now is shift this to sit and stay in the center of the rectangle along the x-axis. So we want to grab the Y position link, duplicate it. I have align 2 turned on, so there'll be some lag. I'm just going to rename this as top, and you want to change the source parameter from bottom edge to top. And then set the custom mix to be 0.5. And we'll do the same with C as well. So duplicate the link, change the source parameter from bottom edge to top, and set the custom mix, or the mix, at 0.5. So now if I come and adjust the height, you'll see that these crosshairs always stay right in the middle there, where we set them at halfway between this top edge and this bottom edge here. Okay, so for the banner now, instead of creating a big surface area and clipping it out with a mask, we're going to link the width of our line. So I'll grab the line, come to the width, add parameter behavior link, and we'll drag in our frame as the source and choose object, shape, size, height. And I'll just turn off the crosshairs there. So you see we don't get a one-to-one relationship, so we want to, I think for height we want to change the scale to 10 in that link. And there we go. So let's just turn the frame off. Okay, and then if we come to add more text, add more lines, it's going to adjust and keep up. Okay, so there you go. We've looked at one thing we can do to automate lines with our text elements as well. So a few pointers. Remember that you have, we did something with the offsets here, so they pretty much, for this example, they need to stay where they are, but remember that to make adjustments to your build, you've always got these offsets to adjust. I'm just going to turn align 2 off. To get rid of the system lag. Okay, so remember you can animate with the custom mix slider or the mix slider. You can make adjustments with your offsets on your links. So for your size link, you can adjust these. You can animate with these as well. You can attach behaviors to these offsets to oscillate them, and remember you can rig them as well. So the simple setup with the text linked to a shape and aligned to it, that's just the beginning. With all these other parameters you have to play with, and as well, remember we have scale to work with as well. You can do lots of things from there. Okay, that's all for this guide. Thanks for checking it out. I hope it was useful. Thanks for watching.